remember watching the Indy 500 every year as a kid and wanting to go and watch it in person. Well, and drive in it and win it. Well, I still haven't done that. But I did make it to the Brickyard to visit. There's a museum inside of the track that has a ton of cool cars and memorabilia, not only from races at Indy, but from other races around the world. There was construction going on in the front of the museum, so we came in through the rear. Here you can see some of the race cars they have in the collection. A lot of these I remember watching on TV growing up. The movie Ford vs. Ferrari just came out, so they have the actual cars from that fight here. The Ford GT40 and the Ferrari 250 LM. Nice cars. Here's a beautiful Mercedes W196 and the Borg Warner Trophy for the Indy 500. This is Michael Schumacher's 1991 Formula One car. A lot of these cars are the cars that won the Indianapolis 500. Who doesn't recognize the Penske Pennzoil cars? Now on to the track tour. I'll let this play and you can hear the narration.
As we make a lap around this historic track. Before our journey begins, we'd like to thank Firestone Tire and Rubber Company for supplying the tires our buses depend on to showcase this facility. Firestone's partnership with the Speedway dates back to the opening of the track, and a display featuring the evolution of these iconic racing tires can be seen within our museum exhibition area. If on this site in 1908, we would currently be traveling through the fields of the old Presley Farm. Indianapolis entrepreneur Carl Fisher had the idea to build a facility where automobiles could be tested and races held for constructors to show off their new creations to the public. As a result, in 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway came into being. The first series of races held on the track had to be cut short, as the original surface of crushed stone and tar proved unsuitable for high speeds. An idea was devised to pave the entire surface in brick. Work began in the fall of 1909. The project took 3.2 million bricks from around the state to complete. It was finished and ready for racing in just 63 days. Almost immediately, the track picked up a nickname relating to its new racing surface. Today, people around the world know the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the Brickyard. After 2 years of running races of various lengths, Fisher, along with his partners James Allison, Arthur Newby, and Frank Wheeler, decided it would be best to hold one epic race every year. The Indianapolis 500 was conceived to be held every May around Memorial Day. Ray Haroon won the first 500 in the locally constructed Marmon Wasp, which can be seen on display within the museum. The day was a huge success, and the greatest spectacle in racing was born. We enter the track between turns 1 and 2 onto one of our short chutes, each of which measure 1/8 of a mile and are located at the north and south ends of the speedway. There are 4 turns, each a quarter mile in length from entrance to exit, and 2 straights, each measuring 5/8 of a mile. Altogether, these add up to a total track length of 2.5 miles. You're probably beginning to feel the effects of our banking as we enter turn 2. Each of our turns has 9 degrees and 12 minutes of banking. By comparison, Daytona International Speedway in Florida has 31 degrees of banking in its corners. If you look to the left, some of the viewing mounds are coming into sight. These are located throughout the infield of the track and are used by general admission ticket holders. Coming into view on the right are the Turn 2 suites. Constructed in 1973, these suites offer a close-up vantage point to the action on track for VIP guests and sponsors. As we ride along the backstretch, keep in mind the track on which you are traveling is the same as the 1909 layout, only the surface has changed. If you're wondering what happened to all those bricks, most of them are still beneath us, buried under several layers of asphalt. If Indy cars were on the track right now, you would see them speeding by at roughly 235 miles an hour or 378 kilometers per hour. This would allow them to cover a football field in 9/10 of a second. For safety purposes, we keep our buses restrained to a more leisurely pace. You may have noticed a golf course on either side of us. The original course was opened in 1929 and underwent a major redesign in 1992 by legendary golf course designer Pete Dye. There are now 4 holes on the inside of the track and 14 beyond the backstretch. The LPGA and Senior PGA Tours have held tournaments here. Coming up on your left is one of the most recent permanent additions to our facility, a quarter-mile dirt track. This was installed in 2018 in part to honor USAC driver Brian Clausen with the BC 39 midget car race held in conjunction with the Brickyard 400. This is a premier USAC event with over 100 entrants the first year. Up ahead is turn 3. As we travel through the turn, be sure to look along the white walls on either side of the track. You will notice the SAFER barrier in front of the hard concrete. SAFER is an acronym for Steel and Foam Energy Reduction. This safety feature was developed by researchers at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in conjunction with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was first installed here in 2002. The safer barrier is responsible for saving many drivers from serious injuries and can now be found in nearly all major racing facilities in the United States. Famed World War I flying ace Eddie Rickenbacker purchased the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 1927. Captain Rickenbacker raced in the 500 before he learned how to fly an airplane. He successfully guided the track through the Great Depression and installed many major safety improvements, most notably green and yellow warning lights in 1935. There were no racing events held at the Speedway from 1942 through 1945 as the result of World War II. Unlike the First World War, where the ground served as an aviation repair and refueling depot, the track was largely unused and began to be reclaimed by nature. At the urging of three-time 500 winner Wilbur Shaw, Terre Haute, Indiana businessman Tony Holman saved the track from demolition in 1945, purchasing it for $750,000. Under Holman-George ownership, the Speedway prospered and became the worldwide icon known today. In January 2020, the track was sold to longtime race team owner and entrepreneur Roger Penske. Here we are on the front stretch. A large portion of the 250,000 plus permanent seats can be seen here. Combined with the viewing mounts, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway can hold upwards of 350,000 people for an event, making it the largest sporting facility in the world. There is a wall separating the racing part of the front street from the pit lane. The original version of this was installed in 1957, and it may have been the first of its kind anywhere in the world. During the early days of the 500, pit stops would last several minutes. Modern crews can change a full set of tires and fuel a car in less than 8 seconds. The tall building coming into view on the left side of the track is the Pagoda. This 10-floor, 13-story structure opened in 2000 and is the location for timing and scoring, master control, media broadcasts, and private suites. There have been various versions of this dating back to the track's earliest days. Immediately to the left of the Pagoda is Victory Podium. The unique design of this structure is a combination of the trophies of the Indianapolis 500 and Brickyard 400. Running through the Pagoda and onto the racing surface is a link to the past, the Yard of Bricks. Every brick you see dates to the original surface in 1909. The front stretch remained predominantly brick until October of 1961, when the entire track was paved with asphalt, except for this narrow strip. A unique tradition has developed involving the bricks. After winning the third running of the Brickyard 400 in 1996, Dale Jarrett wanted to pay homage to the storied history of the track. Dale and his crew made their way to the Yard of Bricks, knelt, and gave them a kiss. This tradition is now performed by winners of every major event held here at the Speedway.
And just a couple of tidbits. When Tony Holman bought the track in 1945 for $750,000, if you would put inflation along with that number, he would pay $11 million back then. We have no idea what Roger Penske had bought the track for. Eventually, one day we might find out. But right now, it's a lot more than $750,000 or $11 million. The other little tidbit, when he said it's the largest facility in the world, anybody from around Cincinnati, Ohio, in the Midwest? Actually, Cincinnati, Ohio, their population is 289,000 people. So we can put the entire population of Cincinnati, Ohio on 320 acres. Tells you how big the facility is. Another little tidbit real quick. Big Ten football conference. We have 14 football schools. All 14 will fit inside the track with room left over. So it shows you how massive the facility is. So any questions? All right, just follow me out to the Yard of Bricks. I'll meet you there. Just watch your step coming off.
Time to kiss the bricks. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a huge racing complex.
We're going to see gasoline alley, so we're going to stop right in front of the garage area. When you look at the gasoline alley, the white wall that goes all the way out, that's gasoline alley, all the way up to the inside of the building.
Ahead is our third generation scoring pylon, constructed in 2014. It stands just over 92 feet tall and has interactive LED lighting that can show the position of all drivers competing in a race, along with the ability to display animations and other video graphics. There has been a structure like the one you're looking at near this general location since 1959. Over on the left is the entrance to the garage area and famed gasoline alley. The concrete structures you see were constructed in 1986, but there have been garages in that location since 1914.
Okay, real quick, I forgot one important thing. They talk about the safety barriers and everything, okay? They were put in 2002. But we're going to go into the toughest turn in motorsports. They're going to say about turn one. As we're going into turn one, look at the safety barrier. Because they do not replace the safety barrier unless it's totally destroyed. So you're going to see a lot of new things from the crashes and everything. So as we're going to turn one, just watch it. Most of the indentations are going to be exiting turn one. So this give you something guys to look at.
The garages located directly off pit lane were constructed in 2000 for Formula One and are currently used by NASCAR. The Speedway has seen many celebrities through its gates, from Hollywood screen legends Clark Gable, Shirley MacLaine, Paul Newman, and James Garner, to modern-day well-knowns like Lady Gaga, Matt Damon, and Christian Bale. You never know who you might run into within the 2.5-mile confines. Here we are in Turn 1, known by many around the globe as the toughest turn in all of motorsports. Try to picture on race day 33 open-wheel cars tightly packed and traveling well above 200 miles an hour, all vying to fit through this narrow corner. I think you'll come to an appreciation as to why it has earned that reputation. Over on the left, you'll see a portion of our road course. The section you're looking at was installed in 2008. The rest of the course, which winds its way through the infield, debuted in 2000. The course was updated in 2014 for our IndyCar Grand Prix, which takes place 2 weeks before the 500 every May. It measures 2.439 miles in length with 14 turns. This brings us back where we started. Congratulations, you have completed a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Your average speed was somewhere around 20 miles an hour, not factoring in our stop at the bricks. The fastest official lap ever turned here was by Ari Lyondike in 1996, slightly faster, averaging at over 237 miles an hour. As we make our way back to the museum, please remember to take time and watch the video within the Tony Holman Theater. If interested in climbing into an actual Indy car and having your picture taken, we have one available. It's in the North Museum exhibition area on the right-hand side. Also, 2 souvenir gift shops located at the front entrance of the museum. Though located within the Speedway, the museum is a separate, not-for-profit foundation. Any funds or donations acquired are put toward maintaining our world-class automobile collection and the continual operation of the track tours. It's our pleasure to show you the wonders of this historic venue to visitors from across the globe daily. We hope you enjoy your time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and in our city. Thanks for joining us on our tour, and we'll see you all out there on race day sometime in the future.
All right, folks, they talked about the Ari Leinite car, 237.4 miles an hour. That was actually during qualifications, and that car is on display in the glass room in the museum. It'll be red, white, and blue, car number 5, I believe that's the car number on it. But it's sitting right in the back corner, right across from the Ferrari and the GT40. You guys have your tickets. All your purple tickets are good until 4 o'clock today. Any questions before we get off? All right, what we're going to do, we're going to go right back up the sidewalk, right back in the museum, okay? So thank you very much, everyone.
It was a great experience to visit and drive on the circuit. Maybe someday I'll be able to visit during the running of the Indy 500. And maybe someday I'll be one of the drivers. And maybe I'll win it. Stay tuned for those videos. Thanks for watching.